Story time about my toxic best friend group. So a little background information. I was 16 and it was the end of 9th grade going into summer break. And one day randomly these 3 girls added me on Snapchat and put me into a group chat. Now I had seen them around school but I never said hi to them. I was finding it very hard to make friends in 9th grade because everybody was so toxic. Anyways, like I said, they added me to a group chat and all of them said hi to me. And usually I wouldn't respond to random people on Snapchat, but because I had seen them around school, I decided why not. And it was so random, they just started sending pictures of themselves into this group chat. And it low-key made me feel bad because I kind of hated my physical appearance. But anyways, they asked me if I wanted to be friends with them. Oh, and by the way, their names were Stacy, Savannah, and Emily. So of course I said yeah because it was hard for me to make friends. So fast forward, my birthday was coming up. So they asked me if we could hang out. They said they wanted to give me an early birthday present. So I said yes, of course. Like for part 2. Part 2 about my toxic friend group. So like I said, they asked me if we could hang out to give me an early birthday present. So I said yeah. And Emily had a pool at her house, so they asked me if I wanted to go over there. And of course I said yeah, it was summertime and it was hot outside. Well, when I got there, they asked me to order the pizza and they said that I had to pay for it. So I said yeah, because they were my besties at the time. So I used some of my birthday money to pay for the pizza for all of us. And when I got back to Emily's house, they were all already in the pool. So I was kind of mad. 1, because they didn't go with me, and 2, they were just hanging out without me. So we're sitting there eating the pizza. And then after, all 3 of them get in the pool and they start taking pictures with each other, not even asking me to be in any pictures. So at that point, I was so annoyed. I was just like, you guys are being so rude. And Emily's like, what are you talking about? We didn't even do anything. And then, of course, Stacy and Savannah agreed. So I was like, 1, you didn't even ask me to be in any pictures and you made me pay for the pizza for all of us. And she was like, you're ugly. We didn't want you in the pictures. So I threw the pizza away and went home. Story time about why I will never ever ride in an Uber ever again. So a little background information. I was 16 and in 11th grade. So my parents decided to go away for the weekend. They wanted to go and visit some family who lived like 2 hours away. So I decided that it was a good idea to invite my friends and my boyfriend and his friends over for a sleepover. And once we were all at my house, we realized that we were pretty bored, so we decided to go to the fair. So we decided to go to the fair around 9:15. But because we were all lazy AF, we decided to just get an Uber to the fair instead of driving. The Uber there was fine. We went, we had a super great time, and then it was time to go home. It said our Uber was going to come at 10:30, but instead it came at 10:45, which I didn't think was a big deal because Ubers are late sometimes. So we all got into the Uber, and mind you, my house was literally 15 minutes away. So I ended up taking a nap because I was really tired, and then I woke up, like for part 2. Part 2 about why I will never ever ride in an Uber ever again. So like I said, my house was only 15 minutes away. So since I was really tired from the fair, I decided to take a nap. Well, I woke up 20 minutes later and we were in the middle of nowhere. Like when I tell you, we were on a road that literally just kept on going. I asked my boyfriend where we were and he said that we had been on this road for a while. So at this point, we're all texting each other. And all of our friends are saying, no, we're fine, this is the way. So then I look up my address on Google Maps, and we are 45 minutes away from my house. So then I send it in the group chat, and now everybody starts to freak out. Not to mention, our Uber driver was on the phone the whole time, but he had his AirPods in, and we couldn't understand anything that he was saying. So that's when my friend Sophie, she was in the front seat, she shoved the directions in his face, and was like, I think you're going the wrong way. So then he busts a U-turn, and he's yelling at this point on the phone. And an hour later, we make it back to my house. I have a feeling if it wasn't for my friend Sophie, we wouldn't have made it out of there.
Story time about how I messed up giving a homeless girl my room at a hotel. Over the weekend, I was staying at a popular UK chain hotel and thought I was going to be there until Sunday night. Well, 1 p.m. comes and I get back to the hotel early from having lunch, and it turns out that they have a strict checkout time of 12 p.m. to get your money back. And I don't really want to stay there all day by myself miles away just for the sake of it. Over in the corner of the hotel lobby was a little lounge area with a sofa and some armchairs. There was a girl who must not have been much older than 18 or so sleeping on the sofa, and you could tell from her appearance that she was sleeping rough and had come inside out of the rain. The hotel reception staff had walked over to her and were asking her to leave, which I understand, but I felt horrible for her. I followed her out into the car park and offered my room key if she promised not to trash the room as long as she checked out on time. She agreed, and so I went on my way, not really thinking much about it other than how she wouldn't have to sleep outside in the rain. I spoke to my brother later on and he informed me that if something bad happened to her in the room, then it would be on me, so I was panicked all last night. I tried calling the hotel to tell them the situation but couldn't get through. Well, they eventually called me and it turns out she didn't only trash the room, but she also urinated in the hallway, tried to smash the vending machine, and was a general disturbance to the other guests. The hotel informed me that I'd have to pay for any damages, and the reception lady gave me a very stern lecture about why they don't just give people rooms when they show up like that. Lesson learned, but at least an 18-year-old girl didn't have to sleep outside in the rain and be open to any number of dangerous situations for a night, I suppose. My father married my stepsister's mother when I was 4 and she was 3. We've lived together most of our lives in our family. She and I were extremely close. She developed cancer when she was 14 and was sick for about 2 years. She's since made a full recovery though. During that time, my parents became understandably overprotective. They also asked a lot of me. I quit my extracurriculars so that I could get a job, the money went towards her medical bills, and so that I could drive her to her appointments. I didn't go to dances and any fun activities I did needed to include her. I did almost all of this willingly with the exception of having to quit my high school volleyball team. I did throw a bit of a tantrum about that but was swiftly punished. Anyhow, I go to college and meet my ex, Ben, when I'm in junior. We fall in love, blah blah blah. He and I move in together when we graduate, so we've been living together for about 3 years. We were serious until July when I walked into my bedroom and saw him screwing my sister. I broke it off, tears were shed, and he moved out. My sister apologized at first but then backed off. I thought she was giving me space, but last week she called and asked if we could meet up. She told me that she and Ben were in love and were just telling me as a courtesy before they started posting photos online. Distraught, I left her in the restaurant by herself and did not pay my portion of the bill. She later Venmoed me asking for the money. She told my parents, who then called me to their house telling me how disappointed they are in me for not supporting my sister's relationship with Ben. They brought up the fact that because she had cancer as a teenager, she never learned proper social etiquette and has a hard time meeting people. I don't buy this, in part because I've seen her socialize just fine, and since we spent a good chunk of time together when she was sick, that would mean that I would also have bad social skills as well by that logic. They then told me that if I don't accept my sister and Ben's relationship, they may have to go no contact with me. I reminded them that I'm also their daughter and they should understand my point of view, but they're adamant that this is about me being jealous of her. Now no one in my immediate family is talking to me and I'm getting messages from aunts and uncles and cousins telling me that I'm an asshole and selfish bitch. It also turns out that my sister's 4 months pregnant. This means they were screwing each other for longer than I even guessed. Apparently my parents are so adamant that I forgive her because I'm already ruining their experience for their first grandchild. Am I the asshole for not accepting my sister's relationship with my ex despite her having cancer as a teenager?
In college, I moved in with one of my friends and Mason, I'm in the middle of a thing. What I was trying to say was my friend's mom was absolutely fabulous. She was amazing and she was married to this guy named Carlos, and they weren't rich when they got married. They were very poor. They built up this empire and they were loaded. They were the kind of rich where one time we were out together and I said that I needed ibuprofen and her mom pulled ibuprofen from her purse and I said, thank you, I normally carry it with me, but I forgot it today. And her mom said, oh, you know the solution for that is you just have to buy one of everything that you need for your purse. Okay, 1 ibuprofen, 1 pair of sunglasses, 1 debit card, or a little bit of cash, and stock each one of your purses. She said, that's what I do, and that way I can grab whichever purse I want for the day, and I know that I haven't forgotten anything. And she was saying this like it was just so obvious, like I totally should have thought of it before, and I was like, I can't afford to buy 1 pair of sunglasses for each purse. I mean, I could because I own 2 purses, but she like had purses to match each pair of shoes. But I loved her, absolutely loved her, specifically because she would feed us a lot. She would take us out to dinner, and I am like a puppy. If somebody feeds me, I will follow them until the end of time. So my friend and I move in together. Her mom wants to come check out our place and she's like clipping around. We're giving her a tour and she's like clicking around the apartment in her Louboutins or whatever fancy shoes have the red bottoms. We're chasing after her in our Crocs like, do you like our bunk beds, Mom? And she was like, yeah, it's very beautiful. I like the way you decorate it. It looks great. And then we were going through the kitchen and she noticed that we had these really nice crystal glasses that someone had given us as a gift. And we had these plastic cups that were on the drying rack while the crystal ones were on display like above the sink. And she stared at them for a second and then she said, how come it looks like you use your plastic cups, but you don't use those nice crystal glasses? We said, oh, we save the crystal glasses for special occasions or for guests. She was like, special occasions? Every day you're alive is a special occasion. You're special people. Use the special cups. And then she leaned in really slow and she said, do you think that if I died tomorrow, Carlos would spend the rest of his life single? And we didn't respond because we were scared. We were like, we don't know what's happening. This feels like a trap. And she said, no, of course not. He's handsome. He's rich. And neither of us want him to be lonely. He's going to remarry right away. And then she said, but let me tell you something. I'm not leaving anything new for that bitch. When she moves into my house, everything's gonna be used. My shoes, my handbags, even my children. Use the nice cups, ladies. And that has dramatically impacted how I live my life now.
Am I the asshole for calling my parents thieves for taking the money I saved for my 16th birthday and spending it on new sneakers for my autistic sister? I don't get to celebrate my birthday every year because my parents can't afford it. I got myself a summer job and saved money for my sweet 16 birthday since my parents won't be doing anything for me this year.
Yesterday I discovered that my mom took the $120 I saved and hid under the bed like she always does. She said she was keeping it safe and we'll talk after she gets home since she, my dad, and my autistic sister were out. I waited till they got back and my sister started cheerfully telling me to look at the new sneakers my parents got her. I asked my mom for my money, but she said she spent it on new sneakers for my sister.
I was like, what?
Am I the asshole for calling my parents thieves for taking the money I saved for my 16th birthday and spending it on new sneakers for my autistic sister? She wanted the sneakers, but they didn't have the money to buy them and stop her from having a meltdown in the middle of the store and refusing to leave. I angrily told him that was my money saved for my upcoming birthday party. He promised he'll pay me back next month and I can have my birthday party and invite friends over. I said my birthday isn't next month and my friends will laugh if I told them it's postponed. He replied I should reconsider who I'm friends with. I asked them to return them. He said no and I said they're both thieves. He said you're getting on my last nerve and I'm not going to take your shit no more. No party for you. Not next week, not next month, and you're grounded. Mom approved his message.